Working with teens can be a real challenge. And that relationship between parents and teens. How do you improve relationship with parents as a teenager? You might want to share this one with your teen. You know, Vic, when I'm working with families about this, the place that I always want to start is with an understanding of parent psychology.
Parent psychology for the youth?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be helpful? If you're a young person, think about it. Wouldn't it be helpful to know how they're thinking? What is going on in that mind?
So is that possible? So I'm curious, what is parent psychology?
Okay, so this is interesting because we've done a lot of videos here for parents about 3 stages of moral development.
Right.
And Vicki, in the Parenting Power-Up, we go into some detail about this. This is parent psychology. It's in a different wrapper, but check it out. Parents think in a very predictable way. And there are 3 stages of moral development. Stage 1, give us a quick overview of what stage 1 is all about.
So stage 1 is I want to get everything for me. I'm selfish. I'm motivated by my consequences, by what I can get out of things.
Very externalized locus of control. And so the only reason I do anything right is because there's something in it for me, or I'm going to get clobbered if I don't. Okay, that's stage 1. Stage 2, that's more cooperative. So I don't want any trouble. I want to keep the peace, and I'm going to go along and comply with reasonable
But I might not do it
requests.
in a very happy way, but I am going to do what I have to do, maybe with some attitude.
Right. It's cooperation, not always the right attitude.
Right.
And then stage 3?
That's where you actually take initiative to do things. You see what needs to be done, you see the proper behavior or whatever is expected in the situation, and you just do it out of initiation.
Now, these stages are important because your stage of maturity determines your level of control that you get to have.
And that control word is such a buzzword for our teens.
I had a 15-year-old young man right here on my couch, and his mom was on the other end of the couch, and I was interviewing both of them about, okay, what's going on? Mom had this laundry list, okay, of things that she wanted to address with her son. I asked the son, the 15-year-old, what's going on? He gets this indignant look on his face, and he points over at Mom, and he says, she is trying to control my life. And I go after Mom. I'm like, what's the deal? You're trying to control his life? And her response?
Not at all.
No. Heavens no. I want him to control his life. I don't want to control his life. I got other things to do.
Yeah.
But here's the parent psychology part. How mature you are matters in how much control you have. But how mature your parents think you are will determine how much control they try to take in your life.
Right.
So if they think that you're being immature, they're going to get all control freaky on you.
Yeah, because in a parent's view, you can really see where control has to be in place.
Yes.
And so if you don't perceive this child as being able to take that control in a responsible way, then you're going to take it.
Look at it from a parent's perspective for a minute. Either you control yourself, or I have to step in and control you, or if I can't do that, the state is going to come in.
So a big thing for helping a teenager understand parent psychology is recognizing that they don't really want all the control.
No.
They want you to have control by showing maturity.
Parents want maturity, kids want control. And that's why it's important to understand that parent psychology. Now, let's get into some things that you can do to improve the relationship. If you're a parent listening to this presentation today, you might want to share this with your teenager because these are some really powerful ways to improve that relationship and come up with a little better balance.
One of the first things a teenager could do to improve their relationship with their parent and to show maturity is just to be nice. Be kind. Use nice language. No profanity. You know, I remember one time you had a youth saying, there's nothing wrong with the way that I'm speaking. It's fine to speak this way, you know.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But I think you asked him if you had a job interview and you knew they were going to pay you $500,000 a year if you could just land this job.
Yeah.
When you go to the job interview, what's the language you're going to use.
Would you use the same language you're throwing out at your mom?
Yeah. And so obviously, because, as a youth, you know what language is acceptable and isn't acceptable for adults. So just make it your choice. Be kind. Use the best language. Don't use profanity. Say nice things. Maybe even compliment occasionally.
So simple, but this has such power as you interact with people in general, especially your parents or the people who have authority over you. Be nice, be respectful, be kind, be cooperative. So simple, and yet it's not very often implemented, or at least when it's not, there's conflict.
Right.
Vicki, I'll take the next one.
Okay.
Because I get this all the time. How do I get my kids to clean up their messes? Okay, that's a hint of something that we could do to improve the relationship. If you're a teenager, clean up.
You would not believe how much credibility and credit it gets you to just clean up without being asked.
Coming from a mom, it carries more weight than it's worth, honestly. And so clean up. Clean up your face and your body. Clean up your room and your area. Clean up your language and your appearance. Anything you can do to clean up is going to put you in a more powerful position in your relationships in general, but we're talking especially with your parents today.
This next tip is one that I am really quite passionate about, and that's just expressing gratitude. I just think it goes so far to just say thank you to someone, or I like the way you do this, or it's great that you provide this for me, or I'm so lucky or blessed that you always make dinner, Mom, or that you always go buy dinner.
Go buy dinner. I think each of our kids have used this, and it has gotten each of them some significant leverage with us as parents. It really does pack some weight when a child comes into our bedroom at night and says, hey, just before I went to bed, I just wanted to let you guys know that I really appreciated your taking us to that park today. That was so cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Or getting up from the table. Thank you for this dinner, Mom. That was really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't take much, but just a little bit of gratitude goes a long way.
I know how much effort it takes. I've measured it. That's the actual amount. But guess how much benefit you get?
Yeah. It just opens up all kinds of things.
Yeah, huge. Here's the next tip. Pitch in. That's an old phrase. Do people still use that?
I don't know.
It came from a campaign to stop littering.
Oh.
At least this is when I remember it. Do you remember the old pitching commercials?
Yeah.
And they showed people throwing trash into a garbage container instead of littering it on the streets, right? Pitch in. It also means step up and do something to contribute. One of the families that I'm working with right now calls it family contributions.
Okay.
They don't call them chores. Family contributions. This is what I'm doing to contribute to the family. And it carries a lot of weight. Why? Remember parent psychology. Parents will take the amount of control that they think they need to take based on how mature they think you are. If you're pitching in,
that's showing initiative, first of all. And
which
that
is
just
stage 3.
And so immediately they're thinking, this kid is ready for more control.
They think that you're being more mature.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing. Pitch in.
And it doesn't have to be a lot even. Just like gather all the dishes. You're going to walk away from the dinner table anyway. Take some of the dishes into the kitchen at the same time.
That's hard. I know it's hard. I know how hard it is. I measured. Honestly, you're going to do it anyway, right? If mom nags you or asks you to do something, are you going to do it? Yeah, because you don't want any trouble. You're at least on a stage 2. Well, how much more effort does it take to do it without being asked? This much. Gets you this much benefit. It's not even balanced. Seriously, this is how parents think. And it will improve your relationship to pitch in. Sometimes the relationship between parents and teens gets a little strained because the teen wants something and they get the answer, no.
Yeah.
You can't have that. Parents, we'll have another conversation about how you can get to yes. That's a powerful parenting strategy. But right now, let's talk about the power of accepting no. Accepting no.
Graciously.
Yes, graciously. See, sometimes when your parents say no, you're like, ugh, and you throw a little tantrum.
And you tell them
you're
why
like,
that's not the right
fine.
answer.
How they're wrong and they're abusive and they're depriving you of your human rights.
Ruining your life.
Ruining your life, right? That's not going to fly with any parent I know.
Well, it just doesn't show. Remember, our goal is to show your parents that you're more mature so that
Right.
you can get more control. So that does not show maturity.
It takes a lot of maturity to accept no graciously.
And this is true of adults, of parents.
Oh, yes.
To accept no. Now, I want to give you one little tip, though. If you can start to rephrase a request to, what would it take for me to be able to go out with my friends on Saturday? Instead of can I go,
Yes.
it's what would it take? And that just it shows that, I'm willing to do something. I'm willing to pay my part of the price for your part, which is permission or
This is
the
powerful
car
psychology.
or whatever. Yeah.
Do you remember our third son, Brennan,
Yeah.
used to use this all the time? I don't mean use it in a manipulative
No.
sort of way. He just figured out, oh, this works.
Yeah.
He would approach us and say, Dad, what would it take for me to be able to do this or that? Now, as a parent, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, that's not a yes or no answer.
No, and it actually psychologically, it puts you into problem solving right
Right.
away versus
Yeah.
yes or no. And so it's a great
awesome?
tool to use. And then it gives you something very specific that you can do. It gives them a way to measure whether you're cooperating, initiating, and ready.
Back to the no for just a minute. For you to accept no, when no is the answer, accept it graciously. This is magic. It works something in your parents' head that tells them you're more mature. Or at least they'll think you're more mature,
Right.
and that's relevant. So you accept the no by saying something like, thank you, I understand, and I accept that. Now that sounds weird, but even if you were to think that and have your response mirror that somehow, that's going to go a long way. In fact, it's hard. I've measured. You get the picture. Are you ready as a parent to take this to the next level? Because we're ready to team up with you. And we've got some great programs available. The first step would be get on a call with one of our coaches, drpauljenkins.com/breakthrough call. Let's get you on a call and figure out what's the best fit for you and for your family as you move forward.
Her head was down, face locked onto the phone.